In 2020, CD Projekt Red released Cyberpunk 2077 to critical acclaim. Now, obviously that's a joke. The game released in a broken state, a game that was hyped up for years and years and years. I mean, when I first saw the trailer, I was like super excited to play this game, like just the teaser. I don't even remember when the teaser released. I think it took them like nearly 10 years to release the game. But anyways, I was really hyped up to play this game. CD Projekt Red made fantastic games in the Witcher series, you know? Very, very actually critically acclaimed series. I never finished any of them, but I did play both 2 and 3. Never finished them. Nearly finished 2. Both brilliant, brilliant games. So yeah, CD Projekt Red released Cyberpunk 2020, Cyberpunk 2077 in 2020. And the game released with lots of glitches. It was broken. It was a mess. I only started playing it recently, and even though they fixed the game, apparently compared to launch, the game still got lots of glitches, like an insane amount of glitches. But then, this year, in the month of September, in 2022, Studio Trigger, a trigger known for Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, brilliant studio, one of the best anime studios, like probably the best anime studio actually. They decided to bless us with Cyberpunk Edgerunners, a freaking 10 out of 10 show, best show of all time. I swear to God, I'm gonna talk about that today. You see, after watching this show, I decided to even like get into costume. I know I half-assed it, but I'm not gonna go. I don't get money from YouTube, so I'm not gonna go and buy like actual cyberpunk clothing. So a leather jacket and the glasses is cyberpunk enough, okay? And my head is already buzz cutted, so I kind of look like a cyberpunk. That's what I'm gonna tell myself when I'm. But anyways, it's a great show. I want to start with the art style. We always know, like every time Studio Trigger makes an anime, they've always got very, very good art styles. Like things, they just, I don't know how, if they are hand-drawn, but they look hand-drawn. Like everything just flows so beautifully from scene to scene. Fight scenes are so action-packed, so quick, you know, so entertaining, thrilling scenes. And as soon as you start the first episode, you're introduced to a very gory, violent scene. And you, minor spoiler ahead, and you just find out it's our protagonist, David Martinez, the goat, playing, watching a BD, a brain dance. Now, I'm not gonna go into the lore of every single thing from, you know, the cyberpunk universe, but the brain dance is basically like extreme virtual reality. I don't know if you. Watching this as an anime fan and not a cyberpunk fan, think the shit from Sword Art Online, I forgot what that's called, the Nerve, whatever, I don't know. The art style, I mean, if you watched Cyberpunk for the art style alone, you would still be treated to like an amazing series. Like, they bring a lot of humanity to the characters, I would say. Like, the way the characters move, the way the characters interact with each other, everything feels real and over the top at the same time. Animation mixed with the music, fantastic. The way the music just blends so well with the animation. It looks like an AMV. It's beautiful. It's like if I were to rate, I'm gonna do like a little rating of every subcategory, and animation's a 10. I mean, this being, now we're on to the music, and the music, you know, for me it's like watching anime. I've been watching anime before like anime was cool, you know, but watching anime and hearing a lot of like English music in an anime is quite weird. But Cyberpunk, obviously, you know, it suits the aesthetic. You know, it could have been still cool with a purely Japanese soundtrack, but I'm so glad with what they did with the soundtrack. Obviously, some of the songs are from the game, but I mean, using I Want to Stay at Your House, as it fits perfectly, and they use it often throughout the series. I can't name a series that's done something like that, but I know there is. But it hits my soul every time something like that happens. I mean, the most recent example I do remember actually is Running Up the Hill in the new Stranger Things season, and that was pretty cool as well. I mean, I didn't watch the season, but I mean, you know, I saw bits and pieces while my fiance watched it, and it was top notch, I must say. It was cool. I like that using a song to convey a lot of the story is such a beautiful thing, and the way they did it in Cyberpunk it's heart-wrenching. It's so heart-wrenching. But yeah, this is less of a review and more me like just going like just praising the show. It's brilliant. But not every show is without faults, even one as perfect as Cyberpunk Edgerunner, which is, by the way, definitely one of my favorite shows now. I'm gonna keep saying this throughout the video. So minus spoilers ahead, I'm gonna start talking about the stories and the characters and whatever. This is the stuff that, like, you know, people click on a review for. I mean, the animation and music, yeah, it's good, but you can still have a bad show with great animation and great music. But Cyberpunk luckily has a brilliant story, right? So the story, if you haven't seen the show, or you know, you kind of know what the show is about and you're curious to watch it, the story goes that David Martinez, you know, he is this kid, little teenage boy, you know, he goes to a corpo school, as they call it, you know, because in the world of Cyberpunk, they're run by corporations. Corporations are basically nations in this world. To put it like in the most layman terms possible. But anyways, and so, you know, he's not a kid with a lot of money. You know, he's got a single mom, and you know, she's just trying to put him in this corpo school, an Arasaka school to be precise. And you know, she just wants the best for his kid. And then, like every single anime mom, she fucking dies, because that's what happens in anime. If you watch an anime and the mom survives, it's probably not a good show. I'm probably statistically proven correct with that. I could be wrong. Maybe there's some shows with a mom that's alive that's good and it's an anime, but I haven't seen it. I haven't read a manga with it. I could have actually, and I could have just completely forgot, but it doesn't fit my you know, my point I'm trying to prove here, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, she dies, and that's a spoiler, by the way. I'm gonna put spoiler tags everywhere. She dies, and because of this, you know, David eventually meets Lucy, and Lucy is who introduces him to this world of cyberpunking, so to speak. And from there we just have a roller coaster. The story, I think, is very well done. If there's one thing I should say, but I'm not the first person to say it, so it's not like this is completely my original opinion, but I do agree with it. Definitely the problem is there's not enough time with the characters. I think there's not enough development for the characters. Like, I feel like a big plot point would have been expanding a bit more, maybe an extra episode with David's mother, or you know, a backstory even with David as a kid and how he sees his mother, just so we know how much more important she is. But also at the same time, they do give you clues. It's not like they're completely like, okay, cool, the mother's dead, David's sad, blah blah blah. There's like subtle, you know, imagery and stuff that show, you know, that's a big driving point for David's character is the death of his mom. It's how he got to the place where he is. It's also how he develops as a character. You know, the death of his mom, you know, makes him want to be this person that doesn't want to see the people around him die again. You know, he hates the world he lives in, and he wants to make sure it's a better place for those he loves. You know, very beautiful. You know, very, yeah, it's a nice story. The problem with a show that you like is that there's not enough episodes. Then that's a good problem, I would say. I would have liked a lot more with Maine. I would have liked more between the time skip as well. There's a lot of content I would have loved for the show to add. Everything else though, everything just flows so perfectly. Even though it is very short, it doesn't feel like you as a watcher is lost, you know. It is a show you do need to pay quite a lot of attention to, but even if you binge it, I feel like you'd want to watch it again. And also, this is a very big thing for me. I watch this in dubbed, right? I watch this in dubbed, and I only watch subbed anime. Like, I love Dragon Ball, and I used to watch Dragon Ball dubbed as a kid, but I ended up watching this. I started watching Dragon Ball subbed, and I still watch this dubbed. And I think I haven't watched it in sub, but I'll probably watch it again just to watch it in sub. But like, I think the dubbed adds a lot to, for the first time in ages, I would say, adds a lot to the story. I mean, the accents make more sense, you know, and then we're watching it in Japanese. There's even a scene where they're driving down and there's Japanese gang members and they're speaking in Japanese. I wouldn't understand how that would be in the sub. They'll probably everyone just speak Japanese, and it just wouldn't be the same impact of what the city of Night City is about, right? And Night City is also just another thing I can go on and on about. I mean, it's very hard to build the world in 10 episodes, and Cyberpunk does it so well. I mean, yeah, you got the game now to go and explore more of Night City, which I'll get a bit more to the game, you know, just as like a conclusion. But Night City is just a brilliant way, like the way it's portrayed in the show. I feel like I had high expectations going into the game, and that was just because of how well Night City was portrayed. You understand how things work in Night City just from a 10 episode show. You know, there's a lot of shows that the world is merely just a background to what's happening. But Night City feels like a character in of itself in the Edgerunner show. And in 10 episodes, that's very difficult to do. I mean, there's shows that go, you know, freaking 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 episodes even, maybe thousands of episodes, just for the world to be boring. By the way, that's not a One Piece this. One Piece has probably the best world building ever. But that's the point, is that what the directors and the animators and everyone involved in the show did, it is fantastic. It's an achievement, I would say. It's brilliant. Story 10. Characters 10. I love every single character in the show. This is a 10 out of 10 show, by the way. If you watch this review to see a big review score at the end, just know I'm saying it's a 10. I love the show. My 10s are given out easily, though. I'm not an expert at this. I'm just talking about something I like. The characters, every single character is brilliant. David starts out as not a wimp, I would say. He was never a wimp. He was always someone who just did what he wants. But he starts out as just like a little punk. Not a cyberpunk yet, but he was a punk. And then he evolved into such a badass, like really such a cool character. His whole like thing at the end of the show, oh god, the run on the Arasaka Towers with his freaking buff ass, like his body changes in such a, it's just crazy also how much he changes. Like I think that's also something that doesn't, not that I don't like it, but I think the time skip being only a year is just wild to me, because it just felt like longer when they had that time skip, just because David's now like freaking buff, looking like that guy from Umbrella Academy, like, you know, after main. But yeah, he's just such a cool character. I mean, his relationship with Lucy, and Lucy, let me get onto Lucy. Lucy's a very cool character. I don't have other descriptive words besides cool, but Lucy is such an entertaining character. Obviously, she has this exterior, I should say, of being cold and mysterious, and she doesn't tell anyone else in the crew what she's about and whatnot, and all that, you know, too cool for school attitude that, you know, you see a lot nowadays. But that's not what she's actually like, and you see that a lot develop with David's character. And that's also another big thing that doesn't happen in a lot of anime, is very good romance. Like, there's not, like, romance in anime, like, it's always fucking boring and annoying. Like, oh, after 100 episodes, do they love each other? They start fucking like after the 3rd or 4th episode. You know, I'm just like, holy shit. I mean, even Main's like my man, you know, like, that is great. That is good. Like, I want more of that in anime. I want more relationships and real life representation of relationships, not this whole tsundere shit, because they could have so easily went down that route, and I'm so glad they didn't. Rebecca's great, but I'm not going to go on to Rebecca because everyone talks about Rebecca. We get it. She's a lolly. She's cool and she's badass. Very fun. Main is very, very awesome. Like, I like that type of character. Like, usually they tend to be my favorites. And to do it right as well is very hard. You know, the whole like, oh, I'm the leader of the group and I'm here to lead the group, but also is funny and charming. Kind of like Nick Fury, you know, as an example. But yeah, Main is really cool, and to see his descent as well, like into cyberpsychosis, was very just grim. But the grimness in the show is portrayed like almost like bittersweet in a sense. I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, but like it's just so, every horrible thing that happens in the show really hits. And in a way, I like how it hits, you know? It's like you're getting punched in the face, but you're like, you know, when the adrenaline kicks in, it's like that. You're like, oh shit, this fucking hurts. But you know what? Fuck, like that's how I felt like watching the show. It was so good. All the other characters are great. Dario, Kiwi. I mean, this is like, I don't pay attention to a lot of the side characters in shows because I have the attention span of a goldfish. But the fact that I can remember every single character's name and still like talk about every single character and why they're my favorites is insane. The ending of this and the ending of the show, I'll start with that. The way the show ended was like, I haven't cried watching a show in so long, and it's left a lasting impression on me. I'd say I'm playing this. I Only Want to Stay at Your House. I'm playing that like every day. Every day I'm playing it. I made a meme about it even, and it's the funniest meme and saddest meme of all time. And it's just such a beautiful ending. It's so sad, but it shows a lot of what David's character was intended to be. You know, he wanted to do everything he could for her because he wanted to do everything he could for her because of losing his mother. And that's like, obviously that's just a very basic way to put it, but the extent he went to for Lucy and the way that they showed everything, the whole song playing while everything's happening, it was like art. Like, it was like actual art. If I wasn't crying because of what was happening, I was crying because of how beautiful the imagery and the music and how everything blended together. It's insane. And I just feel like this, because the last time that happened for me was Devilman Crybaby, which is also a Netflix anime. And I feel like this whole Netflix discourse that happens, I get why it happens, but not every single Netflix media is, you know, trash. Some of the Netflix media is actually beautiful, and they've had a lot of good hits, and this is one of them that's not even just a hit, it's a masterpiece. And I hope that from the Cyberpunk universe, or even Netflix anime or Netflix shows, we get more masterpieces like this. Not every show needs to have 100 seasons to be good. Sometimes 1 or 2 seasons of just pure, beautiful storytelling is what we need, and that's exactly what I got from Cyberpunk Edgerunner.